Well, welcome back to Denny Talks. We're so excited to have you guys today. This is a very special episode because we're here with my mom. This is Kim Myers, and she is going to be chatting with us about her book called Annie B and the Colorful Day. We're going to be chatting about positivity and beauty industries. And this lady has a lifetime of knowledge that comes with habits, routines, finding the good around you and putting the good into the world. And we're just going to kind of pick her brain a little bit about how she became who she is today. And I just look up to her tremendously. So I'm excited to hear some of her answers so that I can have them on recording and share them with you guys. And you guys can also learn just as much about Kimmy Coco as we as we can. So that positivity, that mindset, resilience. You've always been a believer of putting good energy into the world. And where did that mindset come from?
And you can practice it to tune it or make it better in your life if that's something that you're looking for. But I think that if you put good energy out there, you're always going to get good energy back. A lot like karma.
Throughout your life, you've experienced some difficult times. Can you tell me some times where you've had to stay positive and kind of what it took in order to stay positive during your difficult times?
Oh, in order to stay positive, again, it's just a mindset. Taking care of yourself, doing things that matter to yourself or to your family, that creates a lot of positivity in your world. Um, Giving back to the community is really good too. Not focus on something in your own life, that you're focusing on others.
Mhm. One of my favorite things that I remember, like during difficult times, I'm just going to use like the COVID era of things. So in 2020, nail business, it's you're self-employed and you are now deemed as being non-essential.
Mhm.
And so we lived in Idaho, and so they had shut down all of the businesses that were non-essential, and you had to close your doors and not offer your nail business anymore. And I think that that was definitely a really difficult time period because you didn't know when you were going to be opening up
True.
and how income was going to be coming through. Um, but I remember that one client, and I'm just referring back to the more that you pour out into people, the more that they also see that and want to help you out
Mhm.
in turn. And that community makes a huge difference because you had gotten a letter inside your mailbox.
Yeah, no stamp. She had literally placed a letter in our mailbox with a check because she came every 2 weeks. So she was paying me for the month that she wasn't going to see me,
Yeah.
knowing that I wouldn't have an income.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really nice. I got quite a few of those actually.
Yeah. But I think that's a huge testament to how staying positive, just that better times are going to be coming, and staying to yourself,
Mhm.
and that those good things are going to come back to you. So you've always been so good about having that resilience and encouraging people to also just be positive around you, and that it's going to come back to you
Yeah.
in the long run. What is one life lesson that you've learned that you hope others would take to heart?
Try to look at it from another point of view. Sometimes things aren't always as they seem, as you don't mean to be judgmental, but sometimes human nature makes you judge people, and just trying to look at it from a different point of view because everybody has troubles in their world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Putting yourself in somebody else's shoes.
A different perspective, yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's not about you, really. It's most likely about other people
Right.
or whatever they're going through that they put off on what you think is you.
Mm-hmm. I see that a lot. Dealing with the students that I deal with, sometimes they're bringing in outside
Mm-hmm.
influences. I'm sure you saw that with your clients. And then also on social media, you have been building a platform using social media. And so I'm sure you see the keyboard warriors, and they're
Yeah.
putting things out there, and everybody has an opinion on something. And so oftentimes, like you said, that you've taught that to me, that it's more about what they're dealing with and they're putting it off on you. Okay, so you just had a book come out in August, Annie B and the Colorful Day. It is a children's book, it's a picture book, and we are so excited for you to have that launched. It's launched all the places that you can
Mm-hmm.
get your book. So we're working on getting it into the library because it was just launched in August 1st was our
Yeah.
launch date. And so can you tell me a little bit about what inspired you to start Annie B?
Oh, Annie B, The Colorful Day is inspired by your dog, Annie. She's number 3. She's a border collie and she is so adventurous. She's not like the other dogs in that aspect, that if there's a mud hole, she will find it. She just finds all the adventure. Not that she is destructive. She's just plain curious. And
Mhm.
this dog, you can give her a bath, and 10 minutes later, she has found something and she's coated with it. So we don't give her as many baths as we used to.
Because it just seems pointless.
Yeah.
I just think that's so funny because she, even though, so she's, let's just say that Annie, even though she's technically my dog, she lives at Kimmy's
It's
house.
true. She's
She,
chosen me to be her human.
yeah, yeah, we're just the second humans. When Kimmy's out of town, then Annie has to be at our
Mhm.
house. She just spend the night with the rest of us, but in the morning time, we open up the door and she's at Kim's
That's
house.
true.
The rest of the dogs will hang out and stay with us, but Annie is at your guys' house. And so much so that like I had somebody had reached out online and I had shared some videos of our dogs and they said, where's Annie? Is she okay? She's not in this picture. I was like, she's at my mom's
She's
house.
next door.
She's next door. We do live next to each other. So then also, so Annie, and even this morning, I had let her out. She's been gone for an hour and a
Mhm.
half. Come back, and her whole face is just dirty. I don't know what's on the
Yeah.
top part of her head, but it's just dirt. So she puts her face in lots of different things. She's pretty clever. So this is the story of Ink, the colorful day, and it's basically taking students, kids through all the colors of the rainbow
Yeah.
and all the ways that Annie truly has gone through all of the colors.
Of the rainbow.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
she's this beautiful little white dog, and her coat changes colors from the red of
Mhm.
paint and purple from berries and waters of the blue and the brown
And the
and
pumpkin patch, and oh my gosh, the rolling and the rolling.
mhm. So I would like to say that again, it's pretty much like a true story. Like obviously it's dramatized in order to make it work, but for the most part, it's pretty accurate. So if you follow along to your Instagram page, you can see Annie and all of the shenanigans she
Mhm,
does.
mhm.
So tell us what your Instagram page is that they can follow.
My personal page is Okie Coco on Instagram, Kim Myers on Facebook. On this dog's page is Simply Country Dogs, and that's on Instagram and TikTok. And then I have a community page also, and that's called Hello Pittsburgh County. That's on Facebook and on Instagram.
Yeah, awesome. You got a lot going on.
Yeah.
So let's go back to Annie. And so what message do you hope that kids can be able to take away from this book?
Oh my gosh. That children can take away from this book that everybody is an individual, and just to be true to yourself and do what makes you happy. And even though you're super messy, smile through the whole thing, and maybe ask for forgiveness later.
There you go. So, how did the farm and your everyday life influence the settings or the characters of this book?
Living on the farm and having Annie next door is definitely the character of the book and the whole entire setting for the book. She is the only character in the book, with the exception of a couple of cows. Um, and I guess ducks in the pond, that's about it. But yeah, it was key to creating the whole entire book around her.
Hmm. But it's still pretty much set like you have a barn, so
Mhm.
it is still set very farm feel or
Yeah,
like country living,
yeah.
and
And
that's
we do have berry bushes, so that's hence the berry patch out there. We have a
mhm.
lot of wild blackberries out here
Yeah, awesome.
and a pumpkin patch.
Good. So, what made you want to write a children's book in the first place?
You're an author of Winston and the Missing Apples, and to see Lauren's book go out into the community and serve so many people, preschool, kindergarten, coffee shops, the library, little libraries across the nation. It's just been amazing to see how far that book has gotten.
Yeah.
And I thought that Annie was a perfect character as well. So that's what inspired me to write a children's book.
Is there going to be part two, part three of
Yeah,
Annie?
yeah, I would like to actually write three. The next one is going to be a Christmas book, and then maybe a baby book, like a cardboard style book
Hmm.
of Annie.
Okay, there you go.
But it's not going to be a series, like,
Okay,
yeah,
so it's not going to be like Annie B.
goes to the lake.
Okay.
Yeah, it's going to be Annie B is the character of the next at least one book.
Cool.
Mhm.
Okay, we're excited for that one. So, how did it feel when you got to actually see your story come to life, illustrations? Because you put all of the illustrations together. So, piecing that together has been a very long process.
Yeah,
So,
that was a really long process. Um, Yeah, and I changed it many different times because you have something in your head, and then when you put it on paper, it's like, oh, that's not really the message that I want to relay. So it was exciting to manipulate the characters and all the colors and kind of put together my own piece in that page by page. And I'm not an artist, so it was rather challenging. But I do have some old-fashioned scrapbook knowledge, and I think that really helped.
Oh, well, that's exactly what I was going to say too. So how did you actually piece this book together?
Oh my gosh. So I bought the artwork from a website called Creative Fabrica. After I looked over it, I kind of dropped each image onto the page. And then I still needed my Annie B image. So I contacted the uh, illustrator from that original artwork via email and consigned with her more pieces. So she gave me 32 pieces of the Annie B character. And oh my gosh, as soon as I saw the first 8, I was in love. She did such a really good job to pair her original artwork. And I sent her a book, and she was really excited to display it on her website. That these are all the things that you can do with her art too. So I
Right.
never knew that that could be done, honestly.
Yeah.
So it was a whole big learning process. And I learned Canva, or what I could on Canva. So that's mostly how the pages were created, was her artwork and then Canva.
Mhm. Well, and we just need to give Kimmy Coco a huge round of applause because technology
Is not my
is
thing.
not your favorite thing. But so the fact that you have been so determined, so resilient in wanting to take your dream and actually create something out of it and figuring it out along the way, um, really just shows your goals and your tenacity to continue on with that because it's definitely not an easy task. But
No.
32 pages of a children's book is a lot to uncover, and when it's not something that you're familiar with, you can just see how passionate she is about this book, and so you definitely want to go check that book out. Like I said, Amazon's probably going to be the easiest way that you can order it. You can also order it from my website at simplylaurendenny.com because I have the copies and Kim can sign them and send them off to you along your way. I would love to see Annie actually turn into a stuffed animal like we did with
Yeah.
Winston, because I think that plush side of things, like the kids just gravitate towards that so much
Especially a
more.
young reader.
Yes, they definitely love that. Okay, so let's see. How did it feel when you, oh, sorry, we already did that one. Okay. Let's move on into writing children's book. You said that you got the idea from watching Ben and I write Winston
Mhm.
and the Missing Apples. Um, what would you, what kind of advice would you give to somebody who wants to publish their own children's book or book, novel, something?
Oh, to stick with it. Certainly, if you have a story in your head, to put it to paper and then play around with it from there. Um, if you have a friend who is an artist, that would definitely give you some illustrations. And you don't have to do big illustrations. You can do small illustrations per page, but just to stick with it and follow through on your dream.
That's a good suggestion. I think that's the overarching thing is just to follow through regardless of your dream.
Mhm.
And it's definitely doable. So I think that also just shows that Kimmy is not a technology
Yes.
person. So the fact that she can do it,
Anybody can do
anybody can do
it.
it. So we laugh about that. But truly, one of the gifts that I gave my mother for Christmas when I was young was a to do list of how to use the remote control
For
for
the TV upstairs, yes.
she couldn't remember how to turn it on, how to turn on the sound,
Well,
and
it
all the
doesn't help
things.
when you have 3 remote controls
Yeah,
either.
and you deal with all three of them. So we
Mhm.
literally had to say, like, this is remote
Yep,
A, remote B,
yep.
turn A on and then B on. So that's the technology side of things. And so Canva is definitely, Canva Pro gives you that commercial rights to be able to do that. And so purchasing the artwork from an artist and working with them is also really cost effective way that you can
Yeah.
put it together. So
Mhm.
your scrapbooking journey has really helped out with that. Utilizing your resources of people around you. So, like you said, working with somebody who's also an illustrator to be able to bring those to life. But if you are the artist, then you can also generate your story
Mhm.
using the tools around you to help you with that writing process. Go, you can work with your library, and the library will help you. And usually they will help you just forming some of your sentences. You could go to work with a local school, work with a tutor of some sort if you wanted some help going ahead and generating some of your ideas. And put it all together, and it was really relatively easy. I mean, there's just a little bit of the behind the scenes things, but self-publishing is how I've done two of my books, and that's how you've done
Mhm.
yours. And it's relatively ineffective.
Cost effective.
Cost effective. Cost effective because you're using the sites that are going to be a print on demand site and that kind of thing. We did work with a Print Ninja, which is a publishing print store for our Winston books to be able to have like a mass amount of quantity of books on stock for our Winston and the Missing Apples book. Um, so you can always do it that way too. That will help you get your hands out there, your books out there to more people faster.
Yeah, and they were so easy to work with, Print Ninja.
Yeah, we liked them. They're pretty good. So definitely don't give up on your dream if that's something that you want to do. Because I always hear that from people like, oh my gosh, how did you write a book? Or I could never do that, or I've always wanted to write one.
You
Everybody
can
kind of
do
has
it.
their own
Uh-huh.
ideas, and books have been so impactful for a variety of ages. So that's what we're going to kind of move into next is I want to know how you got started in your love for reading and what your journey is for your little library that you've started, the community. So let's go ahead and move into that. I know that you are really passionate about books and your community reading. So can you tell us how you got started with the little library movement, is what I'm going to call it?
The little library movement, we travel often, mostly in the States and mostly by car. So I would see them in communities, at churches, just on the corner in a residential street. And it's, oh my gosh, what is that? So I'm pulled over many times, and it's just this little house with like a glass, like a plexiglass window, so you can generally see inside. Little library, free little library, little free library is how it is an organization that started, I don't know, 20 years ago. And they have almost 300,000 libraries here in the United States alone. There's an app that you can put on your phone to locate a little library, which is kind of amazing because it's like a treasure hunt. Sometimes it's around here, it's on this street, but we can't find it. And it's right in plain sight. It could be hanging right there on the building and you just overlook it. But I got involved with the little library because of Winston and the Missing Apples. Lauren had all of these books and we had access to them, and why not put them in the hands of somebody that could read it, a little reader?
Yeah. Well, and so when you said a house, it's more of like a mailbox. Like it's
Yeah.
usually like a pretty small
Hmm.
um pantry type thing where
Yes.
it's just a section um that so it's not really large. It's not a building. It's somebody has just designated a little spot on their property
Right.
for
Their business.
yeah, just
Hmm.
to promote literature.
Yeah, and it's so interesting. Everybody's creativity is completely different. My little library is an old newspaper stand. I've seen libraries be microwaves, a mini refrigerator, a tall filing cabinet, which I think is the best. That might be my next little library because the top of the filing cabinet was games and dog treats. The second rung was adult books. The third one was teen books, and the one on the bottom were for children. And you can get a lot of books in that.
Yeah.
So, and they're usually decorated really nice. I've seen a lot of mosaic prints, with tiles and everything. It's just really neat. And certainly businesses will try to match it to their business. I've even seen little libraries that look exactly like the house that they're sitting in front of.
Oh,
So,
that's cool.
yeah, it is pretty cool.
Yeah. Okay, so what has been since you said you started one and it's out of a mail, an old newspaper,
Mhm.
which I think is also a funny story to get started because paint the picture in people's head who aren't, well, we can put a picture up there so we can showcase it, but tell us a little bit about what does your little library look like?
Our little library looks like, I hope that you can see that it's a Highland cow. We put these horns on the outside of it and kind of curled it up. The face is pretty cute because it's got the box face of the little library. And then chains hang down to kind of cover up the eyes, and that's the hair from a Highland cow.
And it's painted.
Yes. Uh-huh.
It's painted like a light yellow. So her
Well,
name.
the yellow was on the inside. The
Okay.
whole library was a bright yellow. The whole newspaper stand was a bright yellow. So I left the yellow on the inside, and on the outside, I painted it kind of like a beigey color.
And her name is
Sunny.
Sunny.
Sunny because she's yellow on the inside, and hopefully the kids realize that this is a box of sunshine that you can come and get books, take a book, leave a book, read a book.
Cool. Uh, but it's actually really humorous because you have borderline harassed the business for the newspaper
Oh,
stand.
yeah. It was the local gas station in town. And the newspaper stand no longer had newspapers in it. It was facing the other way. So every time I would get gas, weekly or go get a soda or something, I got to know the people on the inside. And time after time again, I asked about that newspaper stand. So finally, the girl at the register just said, "Go ahead and take it. Get it out of here." So I
So,
went home, got a different vehicle, and loaded it up.
but also I love that part of it too, because you were able to see a bigger vision
Mhm.
for it. So you're always so good about being able to
Be creative.
be creative, see something that most other people not
Yeah.
like to see. One of my favorite quotes from my mother is, "My brain just doesn't work like everybody else's."
Repurposing.
And then my dad is a master
Yeah, he's a MacGyver.
of a variety of different talents, and one of them is basic welding skills.
Mhm.
And so it's saying, "Kay, I would like you to build me cow horns in
Mhm.
this type of shape. Figure that out." And then he actually does it. And it's bike chains.
Yeah.
So I mean, you gotta kind of paint the picture of it's the bike chains that go around just like the
Mhm.
front part of a Highland cow. So really clever.
Yeah, it's really cute.
Yeah, super fun. So, how do you think that these books will impact small communities around you
I
or families?
I think it's amazing for families to not have to go very far to a little library to get books, to recycle the books for their child, or even me. I read at least a book a week. So right now I'm down a book and I'm waiting for my book to come tomorrow. So if I did not have my book coming tomorrow, I'd go up to my own little library and take something out of that.
Yeah. And we have a lot of people who donate books. I think one of my
Yeah.
favorite stories is that we had shared like the progression, sharing the stories online. I'm just such a huge proponent of it because you never know what kind of doors that opens for
Mhm.
connections with
Mhm.
people, but also to be able to share the journey and the love for reading. Um, and we had that one lady, I wish I knew what her TikTok handle was, but she delivered a
Oh,
massive
box
box
of books.
of books.
Yeah.
It was heavy. I mean, I would say that she probably
And
paid
she drove here for like an hour to get here.
no, this was a different lady. She just
Oh,
mailed it.
yeah, you're
She's
right.
a strength fitness lady that is on my TikTok.
Hmm.
And I think she probably paid like a very pretty penny for that
For shipping.
for shipping.
Yeah.
And she just delivered this and she said, "Here's for your little library." We have a lot of community members who just say, we've cleaned out our library and
Hmm.
we just donated a whole bunch of books in there. Since we live so close to the little library on our property, we've also had people who will donate like a box of books, and then Kimmy can um, trade out the books ever so often, and then you take the excess books and go and travel,
Yeah.
put them elsewhere.
So whenever I go someplace, I do have books in the back of my car. Winston and the Missing Apples, my book Annie B, and then adult books, and then other kids' book. Because sometimes I get to a little library and there's not one book there. So
Hmm.
that way I can really load it up. I always have to rearrange inside there and make it look nice and tidy. Sometimes I add bookmarks. But if a local drops off books, sometimes they'll message us on social media to say, "I have a lot of books and I'm not sure that they're going to fit in your little library." So that gives us the ability to go up there and get them, or maybe they'll just drop them off at our house because we're just down the road, that kind of thing.
Yeah, wonderful. Okay, so as we're talking about community and using social media in order to share the location of your library, about your new book, can you tell me about what it's been like to post on the different social media channels, and kind of what do you hope to gain from using social media?
Exposure to gain on social media for one. And when it comes to the little library, that more people will use it. And in the beginning, I was so excited that because I got the little library up there and then I put it on the app. And within 2 days, a family came through from Texas. They were traveling, I think, anyway, they were traveling through on our highway and left me a message via email that our little library was so cute, but they were my first visitors. So, of course, I'm always going to remember that. But they also dropped off a whole bunch of books, and that was really nice. Speaking of people dropping off books, I now have 2 or 3 bins in the garage, a holiday section, an adult section, and kids section. So it makes it easier for me to organize them. And I'm getting ready to load in some Christmas books next week
Yeah,
and decoration.
very
Mhm.
cool. And so you also run Simply Country Dogs. So that page is mostly just about the life of dogs.
Yeah, of your dogs. Winston, Charlie, Annie, they're border collies. Penny, the corgi, and then Lola, she's a husky.
Yeah. So how did you decide what to post or share on each account? Like, why did you decide to start each one of these accounts? Because you got a lot going on.
Yeah, that's true. I decided Simply Country Dog was originally Winston the Ram's dog because he's the perfect dog. He's so handsome and so sweet, and he's just got such a nice personality. And he was obsessed with chickens. I had never seen a dog that could freeze in position for like 30 minutes watching a chicken. So he was the reason I just fell in love with Winston and thought the rest of the world needed to know too.
Yeah.
And then Charlie came along, and then by the time Annie came along, I changed it to Simply Country Dogs because it wasn't all about Winston anymore. So what to post? It really just depends on daily activities going on. Mm.
Yeah, you've started to make like dog treats. You'll kind of post like
Mhm.
dog health, just the positiveness of how animals can influence your life.
Mhm.
So there's a lot of connections to it. So that's always really fun to see how the joy people love animals, and so that's been able to reach a lot of people. Like you just had somebody had reached out to you on social media and is celebrating their dog's birthday and
Yes.
sent us bandanas and cookies for the
Uh-huh.
dogs to be able to make content with. So if anything, that's just a connection right there. So
Yeah.
you've got dog connection, you got book connection. So what it has been your favorite stories that have come across using social media?
Oh, meeting authors, truthfully, dog authors too. And this was even before I wrote my dog book. Local authors here in Oklahoma. She's got a series of books called It's a Wonderful Dog, and they're adult books. The fourth book just came out. So Christmas, Easter, summertime, and Thanks and Giving is the last book, which comes tomorrow. So I'm pretty excited to be reading that. And meeting people all over the country. There's a gal in country in another country, Australia. Susie is her name. She is Hart Street Library, I believe. Anyway, it's just nice to make so many different connections all over for social media. Often somebody that you don't even know ends up being your biggest cheerleader.
Yeah. Well, that's a good place to kind of end is that um, people need positivity in their life. They
Mm-hmm.
need having that connection with other people and uplifting and need some cheerleaders in your life. So do you have any lasting quotes, anything that you'd like to share with us that we can learn from you and all your experience?
Just get out there and do it. Uh, Post what makes you happy, and be sure to like on everybody's posts too, because sometimes likes are not as many as used to be for whatever reason. But yeah, if you like it, tell them.
If you like it, tell them.
Hmm.
It's a place where. So if you like this, you should tell us.
Yeah.
Wonderful. All right. Well, thank you so much for spending time with me today. I enjoyed being able to know a little bit more about you
Mhm.
and getting your story out there. So I think media and how you can support one another, just sharing your guys' stories in any sort of fashion is a great place to be able to get exposure. So being able to uplift each other and collaborate is a big deal in media.
Yeah, that's so true.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Wonderful. All right.
Thanks.
Off to a good day.